Hello YouTubers, and welcome back to another video from this channel. I have made that many videos lately, but I've been quite busy with work, but I've been buying a nice bunch of records, and I've actually taken a lot of time to listen to them after work, lots of hard work. So when I get home, I've been really relaxing and taking time to listen to some of my nice purchases, and that's great because that's what they are made for. So I'm going to show you a really varied bunch of records that I bought the last last month or so. Some of them with artists that I don't know that much about, but some of my ideas about them. First of all, I'm going to start with this, to me, quite unknown beauty, Lisa Burns, or as she's called on internet when I search information about it, Lisa B. Burns. And this is an MCA record from 1978. It's an export only copy with a small sticker here, and I thought, well, what's this? But actually it's quite good. Very nice to listen to. Great singer and some fairly interesting arrangements, and definitely worth keeping. This is a record that I didn't pay a lot for, so it was a bit of a taking a risk. Well, not really taking a risk, but I like the cover and I like the record too. Very nice singer. I don't think she made that many records, but I think she's still active. I was given a tip to check this out. Jonas in the vinyl community showed this to me, and has been talking a lot about this album with Bob, Bjorn and Dave, Extra Knäckt. And it's on the Plump Productions label, which is a very small label that I don't know anything about. Bob Lander and Bjorn Thelin from the pop group The Spotniks, although the music on this album doesn't really sound anything like the Spotniks, really. It's more progressive rock pop, and they have been joined by an Englishman called Dave Kirby that we don't really know anything about. The story says that it was somebody who just had some sort of working practice at the studio when they were going to make this record. Oh, an Englishman, let's get him involved on this record. So I don't know anything more than anybody else about this guy. I'm going to show you a funny thing, because this was originally issued on the Plump Records label, and it looks like this. Very small label. I haven't seen that many records from that on that label, but they have pasted over a black sticker here that tells us that this is a reissue of the Four Leaf Clover records, and that was a record company owned by the musician and orchestra leader and arranger Lasse Samuelsson. And also in the sleeve I found these two labels. They have glue that has dried on the backside, so it's fallen off the records, but they're still in the sleeve. So these are the reissue labels, and I think that was really funny. So they must have used a very bad glue when they pasted over. Anyway, what do I think about the record? Well, it's great. I enjoy it, although I have to say the Spotniks, or former Spotniks members, Bob Lander and Bjorn Thelin, I'm more impressed by their contributions than by Dave Kirby. I don't really think he's not much use on this record, because his compositions, all of the songs, it's written that they have all composed them, but they are so different in the style. So I get the impression that it may be the singer who's composed it. But anyway, Bob's great singer, great guitar player on this album, but Dave Kirby, well, I don't know. Anyway, it's a good record, but I don't really know why it was made. But it's never mind. Pardon me. We have allergy times here with lots of pollen in the air, and that's why I sound a bit hoarse, maybe. Okay, I'm going to show you a very early Swedish stereo issue, and this is a quite famous album, Quincy's Home Again, with Quincy Jones, with Harry Arnold and his Swedish radio studio band. And this is photo is taken on the stairs of the Stockholm Concert Hall at Hötorget, or the Haymarket, as you could call it. And this is a, you can see, this is a stereo issue. They've just pasted over a stereo sticker here on the sleeve. It's from 1958, and if you would like to see what the label looks like, it's like the ordinary metronome label of the time, but they have written stereo with big letters on the middle of the label, like that. Among many other good songs on this album, we can hear "The Midnight Sun Never Sets" by Quincy Jones, but played on the saxophone by the late great Arne Donerus. But many other great compositions here as well. Right. Well, over to an artist that I don't know that much about. This was also a blind buy, as we say. Bought it because, well, I like the sleeve and it looked interesting. It's Shelly Nemitz. Shelly Nemitz. Very good looking singer. And she's a very great singer too. Interesting choice of material. We have "Son of a Preacher Man." It starts with that, and it's a very good version. This was issued on Fantasy in 1972, I think, and it was definitely a keeper. Definitely a keeper. When I tried to Google about it, I didn't find that much, but there's a woman online called Shelly Nemitz Fisher, who seemed to have some sort of business making cupcakes, and there were some pics of her, and it looked a bit like this woman, but of course older. So it might be the same. So she went from good music to cupcakes. It's a pity because the music is really good. Right, I don't think I need to talk too much about this next one that I've been wanting for a long time, but I didn't buy it, but now I got it. CCS from 1970, I think. 70, 69. This is the Columbia issue, 1970. And, oops, sorry. Well, great band. Alexis Corner, Herbie Flowers, Barry Morgan. Yeah. Great blues rock. I'm not too fond of CCS. I haven't heard that much, but this was really, really good. And I understand why it's quite common. You see it quite often. Right. Over to the next album. This is on the Stateside label. It's a British issue of an American record by the group Rockin' Foo. And Rockin' Foo made 2 albums in the late 60s, early 70s. This is the first one. Great music, a bit in the country rock style. One of the interesting things about these issues, apart from the music, is that both of them had album design by somebody called Phil Hartman. And doesn't that ring a bell? Yeah, but it's Phil Hartman, the famous comedian, well, late comedian, who would, well, become a star in the Saturday Night Live show. And actually, when I read about this, I didn't know that he was actually a graphical designer before he became a, well, full-time comedian. And obviously he has, I've read that he has designed quite a lot of album covers back in the days. So that was interesting. It's a great album too. Great. I'd like to find their second album too. Well, over to a group that I've got lots of albums with. This is their last one, and it's been really tricky to get hold of it. I've been looking actively for it for many, many years, but now I found it. It's Exception, and it's their last album from 1989 on RCA, Exception 89. And it's a mix of old Exception tunes with new recordings of them, and some new old numbers. Well, old, since they mainly were written by the old classical masters, but Exception hadn't made interpretations of it before. And I think those are the most interesting ones, because the new recordings of the old Exception hits, they don't really add anything, because it doesn't sound like 80s either, because it's more or less the same musical instruments, more or less the same musicians. Well, we have added the guitar player Johan Svart, and the bass player has been switched on this album. Cor Decker wasn't a part of the group anymore, but apart from that, we got Rick van der Linden, Rein van der Broek, Peter de Leuve, and saxophone player Dick Remmelink. So more or less the same. So it's great. It's a nice last album. Not that incredibly exciting, but nice. But it flopped. There weren't any demand of this. That's why it's so incredibly difficult to find these days. Right. Yeah, this is quite interesting. I had no idea what this was when I bought it. But it's French prog, and it's by a group called Parallel. I didn't know anything about it, and I haven't really found that much information online either, but I managed to find out that it's from 1971. It doesn't say that on the record or on the label or anything, or on the sleeve, but they are a bit like Exception, but with more guitars. But most of the music on this album are old classical masters that has been given a symphonic rock or proggy treatment. We have Wagner's Tannhäuser, we have The Trout by Franz Schubert, we have La Marseillaise. That's a bit brave to make a symphonic rock version of that in France. Well, yeah, anyway, great fun on the Barclay label. Great album. I've never seen it before. I've never heard about the group, but I think it was great to find it. Right. Let's speed this up a bit. This is a nice blues compilation on the Blue Horizon, the short-lived Blue Horizon label, Super Duper Blues. Very nice. Russian compilation with Willie Dixon and some of the artists that he worked together with, like Little Walter, Willie Mabon, Howlin' Wolf, and others, Muddy Waters, on the Russian label Doll. And well, I thought, well, great pressing. I was a bit hesitant when it comes to some record labels, reissue labels that I haven't heard about, but this was fine. Yeah, over to this, which I think is a compilation by the great band Wizzard with Roy Wood. Well, we have See My Baby Jive, we have Ballpark Incident, Angel Fingers, with this Phil Spector style arrangement and bit of distorted style of music. I first thought, well, yeah, not too sure if I like it, but once the ears get used to it, it's really great. And it's on Harvest, which is a very nice label. Okay, over to this next one. This is an English singer, Linda Lewis, not a little girl anymore. And of course, I didn't. Oh, of course, I did know who this was, but I have to say, I was attracted by the sleeve, and who can blame me, because she's a very beautiful woman and very nice singer, very high pitch voice, but very soulful and very. Somebody at the YouTube vinyl community compared her music, or that if I like this, I might like Millie Jackson. Yeah, and I like Millie Jackson, but this is a bit cleaner, less dirty lyrics, but very, very soulful and nice. Although there are some really silliness on this album, like "My Granddaddy Could Reggae." Well, I'm not going to talk about that because that was truly awful, but some very nice recordings with a soul and disco style. So, very nice. Then I found this record with a Swedish group called Eve and the Last Waltz, Strange Mornings from 2001, and I hadn't heard anything about this. I like the name Eve and the Last Waltz. Of course, I think of the band, and when I saw the instruments and everything, it was very interesting. It's a bit water damaged, and I found many copies at the same place with this record. All of them seem to be a bit water damaged, but no problem playing it. It's okay, although I think the weakness of the record is the singer. She has a fairly nice voice, but the English pronunciation, well, maybe I shouldn't really. This is like throwing stones in a glass house, but it was a bit so. Not as interesting as I imagined, but I'm going to keep it. It's not bad. It's not fantastic, but it's not bad. Right, this is another blind purchase with the Australian singer Russell Morris. I've googled that he was Australian because I have never heard of him. It's on RCA, and this is his first album. It's an American press, or is it American? Yeah, American. Very nice, soft pop, easy, accessible, not too exciting, but great listening to. Definitely a keeper. Right. Then, you may see in the background, that's a Tori Amos album. I'm most happy to find two Tori Amos albums on vinyl. And this is Under the Pink from 1994. I think that's her second album. And it's on pink vinyl with a red Atlantic label. Tori Amos is one of the really great artists of the 1990s. Well, she's still active, so she's still good. But she really made an impact, well, on me and many others in the 90s with her exploring, but quite soft style. But it's an inventive and explorative. She's exploring the music, so to speak, because she keeps trying new styles and new steps on every album. So I was very happy to find this. I don't think this is a reissue because it doesn't. I've been checking the Discogs website. I think this is an original probably from 1994. Pink vinyl. Yeah, this is a reissue though. Alexis Corners, Blues Incorporated, R&B from the Marquee. Originally recording for, I think it was Decca or Decca's sub-label. Was it Ace of Clubs or Ace of Hearts? One of those. In 1962, so this is very early. Must have been a great inspiration for groups like Rolling Stones and so on. And it's very good. I can imagine that they found this really exciting. To say what I'm really impressed by is the vocalist and harmonica player Cyril Davis, who passed away just a couple of years later, too early, before he had really made a really great impact. He could have been incredibly big. But that didn't happen, and today he's more like a legend. I think that's Cyril Davis there. So I've been wanting this for some time, but I guess the original is quite expensive today, so I was happy to find a cheap reissue, and it's on this Doll, the Russian label, but it's great. It's no problem with the quality here. Right, and finally, I'm not going to say that much about this, but it's a live album. It's really great live album. It's almost iconic to this day, because it was so sought after and so many had longed for this concert. And it's Led Zeppelin, Celebration Day. Don't have to say that much about that, but it's great. So, have a nice weekend, have a nice, well, whatever you have, and hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.